Today we have two different multi-tools that we're going to be checking out, but they're both from BIBURY and they're both the Multitools Pliers Pro. They're two different variants. They're both catering to outdoors, living, camping. Looks like it might be the same model. It might not. They definitely have some differences, right? This one has a little bit of a gold accent going on. This one has a little bit more of the, little dot pattern, kind of like a free P4 sort of style. So we're going to go ahead and check them out here today, see what similarities, differences they have. Doing the honors, we have the Rivery Zero here, just to kind of break some seals. We're going to go ahead and quickly get them unboxed so we can start breaking them down here little by little. These are all going to be linked down below if you guys are interested in checking prices, availability, and variants. And I figure, why not do something different for this video? Let's just go ahead and go step by step, unboxing them and kind of going over both of them each at a time. So right off the bat, we have very similar sort of unboxing experience here. We have the sort of sheath. Right on the right hand side, the sheath have a little bit of a sleeve here in the front for some bits. We're going to get into that here in a moment. And then we have, of course, the multi-tools, which they're very snug in there, let me tell you. Sir, excuse me, eviction notice, thank you. All right, so we got that one right there. Let's kind of hone in on this one real quick. We have the bit set right here. We have everything from star pattern, we have flat heads, we have hex pattern as well. Not seeing any Phillips heads, so that's interesting. And again, this should be pretty much the same on the other side, right? Kind of apples to apples comparison. You guys be the judge there. Seems like that's the same sleeve. And then we're gonna go ahead and check inside here. So we do have on this one here, we have two different saw applications. They look very similar, perhaps one as a backup to the other one. They have different model numbers, T111C, T144D. Take a look. If you see any difference, let me know in the comments. They look pretty similar to me. I think maybe it's the teeth. Okay, I think that's what it is. So the teeth are a little bit more spread out on this one, and they alternate a little bit, like on the right, on the left, on the right, on the left, whereas this one is just very uniform, just the same cutout, and also finer teeth closer together on that one. So two different wood saw options there to insert. We'll see those in a moment because that one has the ability to change the little saw inserts. And we also have some additional, and this is again a pretty cool thing to have, additional wire cutter inserts and hardware. So that's nice. Give them kudos for that. As well as a nice little T6, T8 Torx bit here, so you can, use this on the go. Right, also included on this side pocket right there. Whereas on this other model, again, also has the same button buckle here. We have, let's take a look. It looks like we have some different implementations. We have a surgical blade. Two things here. We have a surgical blade application here, so you could insert a surgical blade holder. And this is a spare one. That's nice. And then we have a different style saw on this one. Completely different. This one is not a label like as a model number, but it has a more typical saw you see on multi-tools for the most part, with the alternating teeth left and right, alternating rows if you would. So one saw and one surgical blade with a spare one to be exact, as well as the additional hardware and wire cutter bits and the T6, T8 little L-shaped tool as well. So far, some similarities and some differences as far as the accessories, what's included, right? As far as the actual carry pouch here, it's pretty standard. Both have this sort of plastic little clip in the back. So those two are pretty standard for BIBURY with the branding here in the front, but you do get some slightly different tools depending on which route you go for. So it is now time to check out the multi-tools themselves. Checking out this first one here with the, again, gold accents, looking pretty good. Loving the sort of satin and gold little pop of color there. Nice little combo. And before we dive into any specific tools, checking out the other variant here. Again, this one's all sort of metallic finish, no color, more of a monochromatic approach. And it does have, again, the little circle pattern, little holes and whatnot, very similar to like a Leatherman Free P4. Both have the BIBURY branding on the outside. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and lay them down here, start kind of sort of breaking down each tool at a time. So we have a hole here for the blade. I got a blade on this one, and then same deal on the other one. Both are locking blades. Both have a liner lock. These are going to be on washers, so there we go, nice and easy to disengage. Obviously, you're not going to be flicking it out of its place here anytime soon, since it's not on ball bearings. But it does have a nice little, again, finger slow roll sort of feel to it, right? The liner here snaps pretty solid to engage, right? That's rock solid there, no movement side to side, up and down of any kind, as you would expect. So again, the handle profile geometry looks a little bit different, but so far both blades have a, I want to say flat grind, yes indeed, with a satin finish, and future me put that steel here on the screen, so you guys have that for reference. So that's looking similar there. Let's go ahead and check out what we have opposite from the knife blade. We have, all right, good old scissors, which again, you have to make sure you lock in place in order for the spring feature to work. And those are pretty good size scissors, if you ask me. Right? Checking them out here again, same deal. Make sure they lock so that you can actually use them. And they are pretty much right apples to apple. Again, same brand, same scissors, implementation. What I will say is they have the little bent portion here, so it makes it really nice and very easy to use, very comfortable. And again, it's also a liner lock, so you know those are not going anywhere until you got the job done, right? And you want to fold them away. As far as cutting paper, all right, that's pretty solid there, no issues. Cutting up some cardboard, right? Very nice, very easy to do. They don't have the micro teething, right? Like the micro teeth that some scissors have, but even so, they still cut pretty good. Very solid performance there. So how well do they cut? Let's go ahead and take a quick look here. All right, slicing through some paper. I mean, for what it is, right? Some multi-tools just give you some crappy blade to go along with your multi-tool. You might as well have a dedicated folding knife. I gotta tell you, these are actually pretty slicey, and we are getting, right, some good cuts there. You have also a pretty decent cutting path, so that helps. So it's safe to say you can cut paper. As far as cardboard, single wall, cutting diagonally here for better performance. Oh yeah, you can cut this cardboard all day, unless you run into some annoying Amazon tape. There we go. In which case, you can still cut it just fine. Switching over to the other one, again, same deal. Again, should be the same steel, right? These are very similar models with just some very slight variations, if anything. But there we go. Good performance. Definitely goes through the material there quite well. You guys rate them in the comments on a scale from 1 through 10. 10 being the sharpest, you all let me know. So now that we've done the show side, we're going to go ahead and turn them around 180. Starting here on the left, we have a slow rollout opening hole for a serrated blade with a flat grind here, as you can see. Sheep's foot geometry, right? Sort of. It's also a liner lock, FYI. So far, all the outside tools have been a liner lock. And then on the counterpart here, same deal, liner lock, sheep's foot, serrated blade. So it's nice to have both a plain edge and also a serrated edge as well. If you're cutting some rope, right, some thicker material, fabric, what have you, that might be a little bit more challenging for a plain edge. A serrated edge is absolutely going to excel at that task. Again, let's go ahead and fold it back in. Right, liner lock, so do keep that in mind for my friends over in the UK. Then opposite from that, we have, this is where the special tool is going to come into play. We have a nail pull tab here, so I'm going to open it this way, make sure it locks in place. And by default, well, let's just go ahead and let me open both of them here. By default, they both have a diamond pattern file right there, and then we have a sort of a diamond coated sort of file on the opposite side. So those two are exactly the same on both of these, but here's where things change. On both of them, you are going to be able to pull on this tab as such, and this is where you can replace whatever actual tool you want in that insert. We could go the saw route, right? We could do a saw here, or we could do the scalpel blade, right? If you wanted something more specific, slicier than your included knife. So that's that. And then on the opposite side, same deal, right? You pull back on this tab. That's how the magic happens, right? Got this little tab here, pull back on it as such all the way. And then you do get the two saw bits with this one. So there we go. We could put this guy in there, or we could swap over for the other style saw as such, right? You get the idea. Very straightforward, very easy, intuitive way to swap a tool, whether it be the saw, right, the scalpel blade, right, whatever the case may be, whether you want to put the file back in place. And this is a good thing because a lot of brands include the file, and maybe you don't end up using the file all that much, and maybe you use something a little bit more specific, right, like a saw, or I don't know, in whatever case you may use a scalpel blade on your multi-tool. I'm not sure. If you have used a scalpel blade on your multi-tool before, I am curious to know. Please enlighten me in the comments, right? It definitely comes handy. It's one of those nice to have and not need, than need and not have. But the $1,000,000 question is it going to fold? Well, the answer is it depends. If you have one of these lengthier saws, right, for example here, none of these two saws are going to be able to fully fold just because of the length itself. It's a little bit longer than the actual length required to be able to fully fold it back into the multi-tool. So that's something to keep in mind there, right? That would be a single time use only, and then you will probably swap back to the, right, the file, which can absolutely fold in completely. And then on this guy, it really depends, because say you kept the scalpel blade there, well, you can actually fold the scalpel blade in. Might be a little bit tricky though, right? In order to take it out, if you do decide to keep the scalpel blade on, it's going to be a little bit tricky, right? Because you don't have the little nail pull tab here as you would with the actual file. So keep that in mind. But I mean, you can make it happen, right? Kind of pick at it from here with my thumb. So this one can fold, whereas the other saw application is, drum roll please, going to be a little bit too long to be able to fully fold. So that is why it helps that you have a dedicated side pocket on each of the sheaths, right, on the little sheath pouch, whatever you want to call it, to store these additional bits, because you won't be able to keep them permanent on the actual multi-tool itself. So that comes handy for sure. And just kind of go full circle here. I'm just going to go ahead and install the file back in place, because we can actually fold the file completely. Now, I had some feedback for BIBURY on a previous video, right? If they made the saw a little bit shorter, you could fold the saw in there completely. That would be nice, but it would also give you a shorter saw. So it would be more or less a trade-off, right? So when you work with the saw, the longer the saw, the more leverage you have, the less back and forth motion you have. Instead of just doing tiny little back and forth motions, you have more travel. So this comes handy for that application. The only downside is you won't be able to fully fold it. So it's a little bit of a necessary evil, I guess. I do see that point, right? That point of view and the benefits there. So that is something to keep in mind as far as that goes. And now for the moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and check out the pliers here, right? Shall we? There should be pretty much the same pliers, but we'll go ahead and get a closer look here. Both of them have the needle nose pliers, the regular pliers application. Both of them are going to have the wire cutters and strippers that are replaceable. We saw those earlier in the unboxing phase. You do have spare, right, little inserts here for the wire cutters, which is nice. And so as far as the pliers go, again, very hardcore, heavy duty plier heads there, and they have multiple different functions as you would expect. Once the pliers are open, we do have access now to some of the inside tools that we didn't have access to before. And I want to say, here we go. Before I get there, we do have a ruler on both of these, right? Nice and easy, convenient to measure inches and centimeters. Both of them have the same. And as you can see, right, the similarities continue, right? We have the bit driver on both of these. We got a little nail pull tab there. And these are locking bit drivers, by the way. Now, I was wondering about the Phillips head as far as what was included in the nice little sleeve here. So you notice there was everything but a Phillips head, and that's because the Phillips head is already, right, apparently already installed. We have a PH2 and a PH1, so a little bit of a finer Phillips head, a little bit of a thicker Phillips head. All right, same deal over on this guy. And I do like about these bits that they have the little detent ball right there, because it holds them in place, or they're not going to go out flying or falling off on you. So that's good quality for sure. And the good news is that all of them actually included. Right, I'm just going to take out a few here. And as you can see, they all have the little detent ball, right, that holds them in place. Just, again, nice and easy to pull out, right, and easy to place them back in. They're really snug in there, but it's nice and easy, convenient to have a little sleeve with multiple different options, bits you can use, right, depending on the job you're getting done. So very straightforward application. Again, very nice and easy to fold the pliers. And then now you can do your screw driving here. Nice and easy with the handle folded this way as compared to still keeping the pliers out like that. And again, these are locking, by the way, so they're not going anywhere. This is where this little lock icon and this little push section here allows you to unlock the bit driver. And we can go ahead and unlock here as such. There we go, nice and easy. Opposite from there, we have a couple of other options, and this is going to be on the ruler side. So let me just go ahead and do the same thing on this one. Tab here with the unlock icon, fold this one in, and then just take a look at the opposite end. Now these, as you can see, are going to have very similar tool sets. We're looking at a can opener with a wire stripper. So we got a little wire stripper right in there on both of them. We have a large flathead driver as well as a small flathead driver. It could also be used as somewhat of a pry bar if you needed to. And both of them have the all tool as well. Check that out. Again, a very similar sort of setup on both of these as far as those other tools go. So again, lots of similarities with very few differences. And of course, it kind of comes down to more or less the colorway that you want, right? Which one speaks out to you the most. If you like the little gold accents on that one, or you like the more monochromatic style on this one. Just for reference, right? I want to pull these in just for you guys to be able to see all the details there on both models, what they include, what don't they include. Just want to go ahead and showcase this. Feel free to pause the video if you want to check these out in more detail. But pretty much, I think we have pretty much so far covered everything that they both include, as well as, you know, the similarities, the differences. This one again with the two different wood saws. This one has a saw and a scalpel blade, surgical scalpel blade to be exact. They're very similar screwdriver bit set as well. And the sheath and the overall experience is pretty much on par. Just a quick rapid fire weight check on these, right? The gold model here is going to come in at 319 grams, right? That's going to translate into 11.3 ounces or so. And then we have the old monochromatic model here is going to be 12.1 grams, or the equivalent of 343 grams. So somehow, some way, this one's a little bit lightweight or lighter weight. All things considered, 11.3 ounces versus this one coming in at 12.1 ounces. Not that that makes a huge difference, but in case you were wondering, right, weight difference, there you go. And last but not least, just a quick size comparison here. Next to some of the other heavy hitters on the channel, we have the NexTool Flagship Pro, the Rocktol Gen-R, the Flissa Multitool, and on the left-hand side, we have the Roxon Phantom and the wrench multi-tool from NexTool, the W4. Links to all these down below in case you guys want to check them out. Prices, availability, and variants. And I do have content to all of them here in the channel if you guys want to learn more. All come highly recommended. But most importantly, let me know your thoughts on the BIBURY Pliers Pro. Which model do you like the most, right? The one with the gold accents, the more monochromatic approach. You guys be the judge. Let me know. What do you like about it? What do you love about it? Is there anything you dislike about it? Let's hang out in the comment section down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on them. Hope you guys really enjoyed this one. If you made it to the end, you're the real MVP. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Either this one or this one. Peace.